Imagine a small ancient book, its pages made of vellum, covered in strange looping letters no one can read. This is the Voynich Manuscript, the world's most mysterious book. For over a century, codebreakers, linguists, and scientists have tried and failed to unlock its secrets. Housed at Yale University, it draws curious minds from around the globe. The script looks purposeful, as if it's a real language, but its meaning remains hidden. Even with modern technology, the manuscript defies translation. Its pages are filled with bizarre illustrations, unknown plants, impossible star charts, and mysterious bathing women. Are these clues to lost knowledge or an elaborate hoax? The Voynich Manuscript is a puzzle that refuses to be solved, a reminder that some mysteries endure. Its silent pages continue to fascinate, daring us to decipher their secrets. The Voynich Manuscript's modern story begins in 1912, when rare book dealer Wilfrid Voynich discovered it in a Jesuit college near Rome. Among dusty chests, he found a plain, titleless volume filled with indecipherable script and bizarre drawings. Convinced it was a medieval treasure, Voynich believed it might be the work of Roger Bacon, a legendary English scientist. He dedicated his life to solving its mystery, sharing photographs with experts worldwide. No one could read it. The book became known as the Voynich Manuscript, named for the man who brought it to light. Voynich's obsession sparked a global fascination that endures to this day. He didn't create the mystery, but he made it famous. Since then, the puzzle has only deepened, drawing in new generations of seekers. The manuscript remains an unsolved enigma, its origins and purpose still unknown. The Voynich Manuscript feels like it's on the verge of revealing something profound. Its text follows patterns, hinting at a real language just out of reach. The illustrations, unknown plants, cosmic diagrams, and mysterious women suggest a practical guide, perhaps to medicine or alchemy. The book is divided into sections: botany, astronomy, biology, pharmacy, and recipes. Scientific tests date it to the early 1400s, a time of discovery and upheaval. Yet no one knows who wrote it or why its meaning is so carefully hidden. It looks like a compendium of knowledge, but offers only questions. The manuscript is a voice from the past, speaking a lost language. Its promise of a secret keeps us searching, hoping to finally understand. The mystery endures, as captivating as ever. Before Voynich, the manuscript's trail leads to the court of Emperor Rudolf II in Prague, late 1500s. Rudolf, obsessed with the occult and the arts, collected strange objects and rare books. A letter found with the manuscript claims Rudolf bought it for a fortune, believing it was written by Roger Bacon. The emperor's court was a hub of astrologers, alchemists, and mystics, all drawn to the book's secrets. No one could read it, but its value was immense. Historians suspect John Dee, a famed English mystic, may have sold it to Rudolf, claiming it was Bacon's work. The manuscript became a prized puzzle in a world obsessed with hidden knowledge. Its presence in Rudolf's collection only deepened its legend. The book's true origins remained elusive, even to the greatest minds of the era. Its journey through history is as mysterious as its contents. After Rudolf's death, the manuscript passed to Jacobus Horsicki de Tepanek, the emperor's botanist and alchemist. Tepanek's faint signature, visible under ultraviolet light, links him to the book. As a scientist and seeker of secrets, he would have been captivated by its strange plants and cryptic diagrams. The line between science and magic was blurred. People believed nature's secrets were hidden in codes. The Voynich Manuscript fit perfectly into this world of mystery and discovery. Tepanek likely studied it for years, searching for hidden truths. But like everyone before and after, he failed to unlock its meaning. The book kept its silence, passing through the hands of dreamers and scholars. Each owner added to its legend, but the secret remained untouched. The manuscript's journey through Europe was far from over. The manuscript reappears in Prague, in the hands of Johannes Marcus Marci, a scientist and doctor. Baffled by the strange writing, Marci sent the book to Athanasius Kircher, a Jesuit priest and brilliant scholar in Rome. The letter Marci sent with the book, dated 1665, mentions Rudolf II, and the belief that Roger Bacon was the author. Marci begged Kircher to decode the text, but there's no record of Kircher's response. The manuscript was placed in the library of the Jesuit college in Rome, where it sat forgotten for 200 years. For 2 centuries, the book lay dormant, It was hidden within the walls of the Jesuit library in Rome. The world outside changed dramatically. Empires rose and fell. The scientific revolution gave way to the industrial age. The secrets of the past were being unearthed and explained. But the small, strange manuscript remained untouched and unstudied. It was just one of many old books in a huge collection. No one knew its strange story. No one knew of the puzzle that lay sleeping between its plain covers. The mystery was on hold, waiting patiently for someone to rediscover it. Then, in the late 19th century, things began to change. Italy was unified into a single country. The new government began to confiscate property belonging to the church. The Jesuits worried that their valuable library would be taken. To protect their most precious books, they secretly moved them to a private villa outside the city. This was the Villa Mondragone in Frascati, the same place where Wilfrid Voynich would later find the book. The manuscript was moved along with many other rare texts. It was a move designed to keep it safe, but it also put it on a path to being found again. By the early 20th century, the Jesuits of the Villa Mondragone were in need of money. They decided to sell some of their old manuscripts. This was a difficult decision, but a necessary one. They needed a discreet and knowledgeable buyer, someone who would understand the value of what they were selling. They contacted the Vatican and were put in touch with a trusted dealer. That dealer was Wilfrid Voynich. He was known for his expertise and his discretion. In 1912, he was invited to the villa to look at the collection. He was the perfect person, at the perfect time, to stumble upon the forgotten puzzle. And so the stage was set for the book's re-emergence into the world. After centuries of passing through the hands of emperors, alchemists, and scholars, it had ended up in a chest in a quiet college. When Voynich opened that chest, he was not just finding an old book. He was uncovering a mystery that had been waiting for hundreds of years. He lifted the manuscript out of the shadows of history and placed it into the bright, curious light of the modern age. He gave the book his name and made it his life's work. The early history of the Voynich manuscript came to an end, and its modern story was about to begin. At the very heart of the Voynich mystery is its script. It looks familiar, yet it is utterly alien. The writing flows from left to right, just like English. The letters are arranged into words which are separated by small spaces. The person who wrote this, the scribe, had a steady and confident hand. It feels like a genuine language, one that was written down with purpose and care. Scholars call the script Voynichese. It's made up of about 20 to 30 unique characters, or glyphs. Some of these glyphs look a little like Latin letters or numbers from the 15th century. Others are completely unfamiliar. Linguists and cryptographers have studied the text for decades and have found fascinating patterns. It behaves like a language, but it is a language that no one on earth can read. If the script is the voice, then the illustrations are its body. The largest section is devoted to plants, like a medieval herbal. Each page features a single plant with roots, stem, leaves, and flowers. Next to each drawing, the strange Voynichese script fills the rest of the page. But no one can identify these plants. Some have features borrowed from different species. Are these plants from a forgotten corner of the world, or the artist's imagination? The colors are what really stand out. The leaves might be painted blue, the flowers a vibrant orange, and the roots a deep red. Many believe it must be an herbal, a compilation of folklore, or a book of magical potions. Beyond the garden, the manuscript takes us to bizarre places. One section is astronomical, filled with diagrams that look like maps of the heavens, including drawings of the sun and moon. Some diagrams include symbols that seem to be from the Western zodiac, suggesting a connection to European astrology. But these celestial charts do not match any known map of the sky. It's as if the artist was looking at a different night sky. Or perhaps they were not mapping the physical stars at all. Perhaps the most famous section is the balneological one. These pages are filled with drawings of small, naked women bathing in pools and elaborate networks of tubes. The pipes look like living things, resembling arteries or strange fleshy plants. What are these pictures showing? Some think it is a book about women's health or gynecology. It could also be a depiction of a ritual. they remain one of the book's most profound puzzles. To understand the manuscript, think of it as a physical object. It is a handmade book from over 600 years ago, about the size of a modern paperback. The pages are expensive vellum. Someone invested significant time and money into creating it. The book has fold-out pages with large, complex diagrams. This makes the book feel interactive, not just for reading, but for exploring. Scientific analysis has revealed the scribe wrote the text first, leaving spaces for illustrations which were later painted. These physical details make the manuscript feel more real, an artifact that has survived for centuries. You can feel its age. Holding it connects you to its creator. The book itself is a silent witness. Its survival is a miracle, deepening the mystery of its contents. One of the oldest ideas is that the manuscript is written in code. This theory suggests that the text we see is a ciphertext, designed to hide the true meaning. Wilfrid Voynich believed the author, possibly Roger Bacon, encrypted revolutionary scientific ideas. For over a century, cryptographers, including William Friedman, have tried to break it, applying every known method of decryption. Every attempt ended in failure. The text simply refused to give up its secrets. The structure of the Voynich script is what makes the code theory so complicated. It has features that look like a real language, but also features that are very unlanguage-like. The repetition of entire words is one of the biggest problems. This has led some to propose that the code involves a complex system with nulls. In the 15th century, knowledge could be dangerous, and the code is a lock. The problem is that without the key, we have no way of knowing if the treasure is real. What if there is no meaning to find? This is the core of the hoax theory. The Voynich manuscript is an elaborate fake, created to deceive. A clever individual invented a script, drew plants, and constructed an ancient-looking book. The goal, to sell it to a wealthy collector like Emperor Rudolf II. Edward Kelly, a forger and associate of John Dee, is a prime suspect. However, carbon dating reveals the vellum was prepared between 1404 and 1438, long before Dee and Kelly. If a fake, it's a 15th century one. But why go to so much trouble? It seems like an extraordinary effort for an uncertain reward. The hoax theory requires a forger of incredible patience and skill. Perhaps the manuscript isn't a code, but a lost language. Many languages have vanished without a trace, spoken by small communities and never written down. What if the Voynich manuscript is the last remnant of one such language? The author, perhaps the last speaker, desperately trying to record their people's knowledge before it was gone forever. Perhaps the author was a traveler recording knowledge in their native tongue. The book could be a unique window into a culture that has completely disappeared. A final fading message from a lost world. The reason we cannot read it is because the world it came from is gone. A scribe trying to save their world from oblivion. Another explanation. The book is a work of outsider art. This suggests the manuscript is the product of a single, obsessive mind, creating a private world. This explains why everything in the book is so strange. The plants are imaginary, the charts map a private cosmos, and the bathing scenes represent a personal mythology. The text might be automatic writing. If true, decoding the manuscript is hopeless. There is no code, just personal meaning. It's like finding meaning in surrealist painting. The author was a remarkable, enigmatic outsider artist, creating a masterpiece. This theory fits the evidence well. The creator was not a hoaxer, but a visionary, compelled to create this strange, beautiful object. The book is not a puzzle, but art, a glimpse into a unique soul that invented its own language. The quest to decode the Voynich manuscript drew the world's most skilled secret finders, military cryptographers. After Wilfrid Voynich rediscovered the book, he sent copies of its pages to experts, hoping for a breakthrough. One of the first to take up the challenge was a team led by William Friedman, a legend in code breaking. He cracked Japan's purple cipher during World War II, a feat that changed the course of the war. In the 40s, Friedman and his wife, Elizabeth, turned their attention to the Voynich puzzle. They assembled a group of specialists. Friedman spent the rest of his life wrestling with the problem and suspected that the manuscript might be an artificial language. William Friedman was ultimately silenced by the little book from the 15th century. His failure was a testament to the sheer difficulty of the puzzle. In the 1970s, Robert Brumbaugh, a Yale philosophy professor, had direct access to the original Voynich Manuscript. He approached it as a historian, believing the secret lay in understanding the creator's mind, not complex math. Brumbaugh theorized it was a fake, a collection of simple puzzles created by students for a magical show. He claimed to decode parts, identifying a sunflower, a New World plant, as proof of a later forgery. Though initially confident, his solution quickly fell apart under scrutiny due to flawed methods and forced connections. His theory was discredited, a cautionary tale about the dangers of confirmation bias. While codebreakers and philosophers wrestled with the text, another group of researchers took a different approach. They decided to focus on the pictures. They believed that even if the text was unreadable, the detailed illustrations must hold some clue to the book's origin and purpose. In the 21st century, a husband and wife team, Arthur Tucker, a botanist, and Robert Talbert, a retired information analyst, brought their combined expertise to bear on the botanical section. Tucker had spent a lifetime studying plants. He believed that if the drawings were of real plants, he would be able to find a match no matter how stylized they were. Their big idea was to look for a match not in Europe, but in the New World, specifically in Mexico. They were inspired by a theory that the manuscript might have been created by an indigenous Aztec artist or herbalist after the Spanish conquest. This would explain the strange plants. They were species native to Central America. Tucker and Talbert began comparing the Voynich drawings to illustrations in early Mexican botanical books, known as the Codex Cruzbadianus. They were looking for similarities in plant shapes, root structures, and even the way the plants were laid out on the page. They were searching for a visual echo across centuries and continents. They claimed to have found several matches. They identified a plant that they believed was a type of soap plant from Mexico. They found another that looked like a prickly pear cactus, and yet another that resembled an alligator pear or avocado. They argued that the strange pools in the biological section could represent the Aztec ritual of sacrifice, and the text itself could be an attempt to write the Nahuatl language, the tongue of the Aztecs. Their theory was exciting. It offered a complete, coherent story for the manuscript's creation. It explained the strange plants, the unreadable text, and the bizarre imagery all in one neat package. However, just like Brumbaugh's theory before it, this one was met with heavy skepticism from the wider community of Voynich researchers. The visual matches they proposed were not convincing to many other botanists. The resemblances seemed superficial. Critics argued that with enough imagination you could find a match for the strange drawings in almost any botanical tradition in the world. Furthermore, the carbon dating of the manuscript to the early 15th century makes an Aztec origin impossible. The book was made a full century before Columbus even sailed to America. The Aztec theory, while creative, simply did not fit the hard scientific facts. The search for answers had to go on. In the 21st century, the quest to decode the Voynich manuscript has moved from dusty libraries to the powerful world of computers. A new generation of researchers, armed with artificial intelligence and machine learning, are tackling the puzzle in ways William Friedman could only have dreamed of. These digital detectives are not looking for a single key or a simple substitution. They are using complex algorithms to analyze the manuscript's deep statistical structures. They can process the entire book in seconds, finding subtle patterns invisible to the human eye. The hope is that the machine can see what we cannot. One of the most significant digital investigations was led by Greg Kondrak, an expert in natural language processing at the University of Alberta. In 2018, his team used AI to analyze the text. They first trained their algorithm to recognize hundreds of different languages. Then, they fed it the Voynich manuscript. The AI concluded with a high degree of confidence that the underlying language was most likely Hebrew. It then proposed a complex cipher, where letters had been scrambled and vowels dropped. It was a stunning and completely new direction for research. Using this hypothesis, Kondrak's team attempted a translation. They fed their decryption into Google Translate. The result was intriguing. She made recommendations to the priest, man of the house, and me and people. They also claimed to identify the word for farmer next to a plant drawing. The news made headlines around the world. It seemed artificial intelligence had finally cracked the code that had baffled humans for a century. The digital age had conquered the medieval mystery, but once again, the solution was not so simple. Experts immediately challenged the findings. They pointed out the decryption method was flawed, and the translations were grammatically nonsensical. The AI had produced what looked like a result, but it did not hold up to expert analysis. The machine had been tricked by the manuscript's strange patterns. The AI had found a ghost of a language, but not the real thing. The digital attempt was a major step forward, but the manuscript remained undefeated, its secrets still locked away from man and machine alike. Modern science allows us to analyze the ink, paint, and vellum of ancient manuscripts with incredible precision. This chemical investigation tells us how the book was made, helping ground the mystery in a specific time and place. Researchers at the Macron Research Institute analyzed the paints used in the illustrations. Using tools like polarized light microscopy and X-ray diffraction, they identified the minerals used to create the pigments. The palette was typical of the early 15th century, with blue from azurite, green from copper, and red from iron oxide. The inks were a common iron gall type, and the text and drawings were likely made around the same time. This confirms the book is an authentic 15th century artifact, not a modern fake. The mystery is not one of forgery, but of purpose, lying somewhere in the lost world of the early 15th century. The Voynich Manuscript's pages are vellum, a fine parchment from animal skin. Scientists can now analyze this vellum to uncover the biological history of the manuscript. It holds a genetic fingerprint. By studying the DNA, researchers can uncover a new layer of information. They can learn about the animals used and the environment they lived in. In 2020, researchers began extracting DNA from the manuscript. Results confirmed calfskin was primarily used. Traces of goat and sheep DNA were also found. Analyzing genetic markers might trace the calves back to a region of Europe. This could provide clues about where the manuscript was made. It is a message written not in ink, but in genes. DNA analysis helps reconstruct how the book was assembled and if pages are in their original order. The vellum itself has become a witness. Early AI failures refined the digital search for answers. Today, researchers use advanced AI to probe the manuscript's depths, learning from past mistakes. AI is a powerful tool to help the human eye see faint or complex patterns. The goal is to give linguists and historians better clues. AI studies Voynichese linguistic structure without direct translation. Machine learning maps word relationships, identifying nouns, verbs, and adjectives by sentence position. Botanical and astronomical sections have different statistical properties, suggesting meaningful text. AI mapping suggests a non-alphabetic language, possibly a syllabary. AI confirms the manuscript was written by at least 2 scribes. This AI research is collaborative, a partnership between human intuition and machine logic. It has given us a clearer picture of the language we are dealing with. While scientists analyze digital evidence, historians search for answers in old documents. Recent research has moved away from famous figures, searching for origins in the 15th century. Historian Nicholas Gibbs theorized the manuscript isn't code, but a medical book on women's health using shorthand. He identified therapeutic bathing scenes. This practical theory grounded the manuscript in 15th century medicine. Though challenged by experts, the Gibbs theory reflects a trend towards ordinary explanations. Researchers now explore the lives of less famous individuals. The answer may lie with a forgotten person. The search combines science and historical records, looking for its creator. After centuries of searching, where does that leave us? We are left standing before a mystery as deep and silent as the day Wilfrid Voynich first opened that little book. The Voynich Manuscript remains one of history's greatest unsolved puzzles. Its power lies in the profound and enduring questions it asks. The manuscript's allure is timeless because it speaks to a fundamental human curiosity. The Voynich Manuscript presents us with a perfect, self-contained puzzle. It is a siren's call to the inquisitive, promising a great secret, but delivering only a beautiful, frustrating silence. The manuscript reminds us that some things cannot be known so easily. It has become a cultural icon, a symbol of the ultimate enigma. The possibilities for what it could be are endless. The true power of the manuscript is that it is all of these things and none of them all at once. One of the most fascinating things about the Voynich Manuscript is how it acts as a mirror. Every person who looks at it sees something different. They see a reflection of their own interests, their own expertise, and their own beliefs. A cryptographer sees a complex cipher. A botanist sees a strange herbal. A linguist sees the ghost of a lost language. An art historian sees a unique and expressive work of outsider art. The theories we have explored are a testament to this phenomenon. Robert Brumbaugh, the Yale philosopher, saw a student's game. The botanist Arthur Tucker saw a connection to Mexican plants. The computer scientist Greg Kondrak saw a problem that could be solved with algorithms. The book becomes a blank canvas, and each new investigator paints their own picture of what it might be. This is why the mystery endures. The manuscript is so ambiguous, so open to interpretation, that it can support almost any theory you bring to it. You can find patterns that look like a code. You can find visual resemblances to real-world plants. You can find statistical quirks that match a lost language. The book is a perfect intellectual playground. In this way, the Voynich Manuscript has become a story about us. It shows our creativity, our obsession, our brilliance, and our biases. We fill its silent pages with our own stories, our own hopes, and our own fears. The search for the manuscript's meaning has become a journey into the human mind itself. Will the mystery of the Voynich Manuscript ever be solved? With each new scientific test and each new advance in technology, we seem to inch closer to an answer. Perhaps a lucky discovery in a forgotten archive will reveal a letter or a diary that names the author and explains their work. We can never say never. The possibility of a solution is what keeps the search alive and the story so compelling. However, we must also consider another possibility. It is entirely possible that we will never know for sure. A part of us wants the mystery to continue. The search is often more rewarding than the discovery. The story of the Voynich Manuscript is, for now, a story without a final page. Waiting for the next person with a new idea, a new tool, or a new dream.